Welcome back, everybody, to Two Guys, Three Crowns, the podcast about what it's really like to live in Stockholm, Sweden. Join me, Sean, and my fellow American Rodney as we explore the good, the bad, and the just plain weird.
One day, two guys, three crowns would reunite for an epic podcast.
Can't do any more or else we can't use it.
We're the best.
Sean,
Rodney.
it is incredible to see you. It's fantastic to see you.
I know, crossing oceans, continents.
Yeah.
The magic of the modern technological world. What has it been? 4 months?
It's been 4 months. It's been 4 months, and even though we didn't continue to have the two guys keep rolling, we took a pause. We took a break, and even though we took a break, I still sit in this chair every Sunday at 7 p.m. and reminisce. But I thought it would be a great idea, and you as well, that we go ahead, connect, and catch up. 4 months. You're back
now,
and acclimated.
Now Rodney sends me a message a few days ago saying, "Hey, I just realized it's going to be our 4 year?
4 years since our first episode.
4 year anniversary since we first sat at the Hiram kitchen table."
Exactly. The Hiram studio. The Hiram studio.
A very special episode beaming into your ear holes right now.
Yes, indeed.
Man, I know you've got the pop-up banner there, the curtains drawn, but
Right.
I can see through it. I'm getting cold, dark vibes from behind you.
Oh, well, then I am vibing correctly, because it is chillicious over here. It is it's frosty and slippery. It was fairly light today. So, we're starting, you remember the curve where we're starting to kind of
coming back around that corner.
We're working our way out of the dark woods. We see the light behind the pine tree, but it's still chilly, and it has been extremely slippery. Like hazardous kind of stuff. So just enough to melt down, and then the freeze sets in. Everything gets icy, and it's been.
This is kind of that coming into March, that time of year, because I used to always compare it to Philadelphia,
right.
like the weather sometimes.
Yeah.
But spring comes much faster in Philadelphia. Like by April, you're cranking out some springtime. But Stockholm is still no, I'm still gonna try and snow in May. Don't get your hopes up.
And I gave up a long time ago. I
stopped trying.
I just don't even. I haven't even set foot in the backyard. I tossed out the other day. I was asking Lynn. I was like, "Well, what do you want to eat this weekend?" I was like, "Hey, I could fire up the grill and, maybe throw on some baby back ribs, and we could do some finger food stuff." And then I looked out the back door and I was like,
Nope.
we could buy one of those frozen lasagnas. We could buy one of those
Nice.
frozen lasagnas. But
just store it on the back patio until you're ready to put it in the oven.
Could pretty much, Birds looking in through the window, wondering why we haven't hung out the feeder this year. I'm like, man, it's too cold.
Well, do you dare ask me?
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm gonna do the self punishment. What kind of temps you running over there?
Well, it's 1 p.m., so right about as hot as it's gonna get. Normally 2 o'clock, 2:15 can be the peak of the temperatures.
Right.
We're talking 80 degrees, 27 Celsius.
You poor thing.
And it's kind of overcast-ish, but very thin overcasty, hazy almost. But it's still sun. You can still get a sunburn.
Okay.
You got to be careful.
But it's like a pleasant.
It's not. Yeah,
It's like a very, very thin overcast. It's not like the bright blue sky.
Okay.
But it's still super sunny.
Okay, but it's kind of almost like a natural UV protection, bringing it down a notch, or no?
Not with this Florida sun, man. Okay. It's on another level.
Okay.
You'll get burned if you're not careful.
Yeah. Well, we yeah, we're slowly but surely. We have our little road marks, during the year. We just went past Fat Tuesday, so we did our baked goods. We did our semlor. And then it's the Melody Festival time of year, of course. So that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So they just had the last round before the finals, and I have an admission to make, and I think this just goes to show how long we've been doing this. Lena and I have been doing like quick replays. So we haven't been sitting down and doing the whole Melody Festival. And what we do is 5 minutes Sunday morning, grab, cup of coffee, sit down, and we do just a speed through where it's like flick to the number. And if they're okay, then we might watch half. But otherwise, it's just like.
Well, also it's Melody Festival. What counts as okay?
Right. Last night was actually the first time in a while that we sat down and we watched the whole thing. There was some stuff that happened along the way, interesting things. But towards the end is when you realize kind of why you stopped watching. Because, they go through where they're like, okay, it's almost time to vote. And they do like the what do they call it, the reprise. They go ahead and show just a quick little snippet of all the songs. And then by the fourth time they do that, it's kind of like, vote already. Just let me vote.
Yeah, it's got this very, how PBS, the public broadcasting station,
right?
They'll do like the call-a-thon, like call in, get your free tote bag and donate. Yeah. It very much has that kind of vibe. Like, don't forget to vote. You got to vote.
Yeah.
You got to vote.
Yeah.
See all the codes.
Yeah.
We'll keep charging you monthly for this text message.
And it's the preliminary rounds. It's not even the final. So, it's going to be interesting. But that's the time of year it is. We can always gauge by what's happening. We had semlor, now we had Melody Festivalen. I was telling Lynn, I guess we have to start planning for Easter. But she was like, oh, Easter's still 5 weeks away. And I'm like, do we have any other landmarks? Is something going to thaw, or what's happening?
Yeah, and this is a stretch right now. I think that there's not too many holidays either. No days off work. It's like this is where everything gets done.
Right.
Because then you start having to talk about, okay, what are we going to finish before we all leave the country for the 2 months that it's actually livable?
Right. And we're coming up on what is it? It's Sports Week. It's the annual
Sports Love.
Right. So that is
which is like spring break for us here.
Exactly. So that's this coming up week. So a ton of people will be missing from work all over the place, and the trains will be slightly less occupied maybe than usual. Possibly running on time. Who the heck knows?
But people normally go for like skiing.
Yeah,
for
it's the big ski
sports break.
Right.
But from what I've heard, there's not too much snow at some of the what would you call it? The mountain,
like the mountain
whatever.
stuff.
You know what I'm talking about.
The mountain things.
Yeah.
Veronica was up last week, and I don't think they skied, but I think that there was quite a bit of snow. I know it was really. She took a couple shots and sent them home, and it was quite misty, foggy.
Wait, what kind of shots?
Oh no! Not shot. No, she sent back some.
There is the after ski. That's the whole purpose of going skiing, right?
No, come on. She's 18, 19, going on 19. She didn't do any after ski.
She would never do anything like that.
No, I think her and her friend were building snowmen. But it sounded like they had a great trip, and I think the snow was okay. I think the snow was okay.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because I'm still working with the Swedish team, so I know some of them are going first, like either taking an extra day this weekend or like taking the full week and stuff like that. And I'm hearing, because the other office we have here is up in Boston, and they're complaining about, which place can we go to? Because some of the lifts don't have snow on them right now. Blah 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 blah. It's such a weird. a weird winter this year.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know if you saw, LA got snow.
I know.
Los Angeles,
I know.
California,
Right.
got snow.
I had a couple.
So like half the country is frozen solid, and I'm down here like, yeah, it's 27, but it's kind of hazy, so it could be better.
I have a snow cone. Yeah. No, I saw posts on social media. A couple friends started putting up posts of snow back in the Bay Area and down south, and I was like, "Welcome to my world. Welcome to But
Don't miss it.
Hey,
Don't miss it one bit.
no, yes, you do. How's it going with? I was thinking about the whole money thing, but I mean that you maybe. I was thinking like getting back into the whole dollar thing because I realized the
Yeah, I mean that's been weird because I mean it's getting a little bit better now, but inflation was so crazy right when we got back here that it was like everything has an extra zero in Sweden, but
Right.
everything was more expensive here than it normally is. But then it kind of like was just Stockholm prices,
Right.
So you're like, yeah, okay, that
I'm used to
seems
this.
right. And everyone's complaining about the prices. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. But now that we've been getting back into it a little bit more, now it's easier to tell when, like, some story on the news says, "Oh, because of the bird flu epidemic, it's getting harder to find eggs." And then next thing you know, the grocery store takes all the eggs off the shelves for 3 days so they can change the prices and add $1.
Right. Yeah.
And then, oh wow, there's a full selection of eggs back. Imagine that.
Yeah, but you know what struck me? I was back just a couple months ago visiting my mom, and what struck me as I was doing the math this last time was the prices weren't all that different, really. You know, like even eating out,
Especially beef.
yeah, but I mean, eating out was it used to be one of those things. Oh, you know, maybe in Vegas. I don't even know if Vegas has good food, you know, meal prices anymore. But I know that, like my famous pizza, right? We do my pizza evening, and I start doing the math, and I'm like, well, okay, it's twice as big as a Swedish pizza, but it also costs twice as much as a Swedish pizza. Which,
Yeah. I mean, it's also because they're having to pay real wages for their drivers, but like you used to be able to get like Uber Eats or like Postmates, like get delivery food super cheap, like a nice, disgusting American Chinese takeaway kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Like it was a cheap. That's why it's all greasy and all that stuff. It's just you need it sometimes. But now it's like there's the delivery fee, and then there's the taxes, and then there's the make sure you add tip, because if you don't add tip, then it's going to take an extra 30 minutes to get to your house magically.
Right.
So it ends up being like almost what you would pay for like going out
Right.
and having a drink with it, and it's like delivery.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but it's coming in the plastic containers. I don't want to spend
Yeah.
real money on takeaway.
Right. And
Yeah.
and I always forget sales tax. I always forget to do that.
That has gotten me so many times.
Calculation.
I'm like, why is this more expensive all of a sudden? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm at Target. I'm like, you know, picking up my stuff. I go to the thing and I'm like, no. It said $12 on the shelf.
Yeah. Well, that's like we have a little bodega downstairs, like a little market, like a miscellaneous sundries. Like when you run out of milk, you can go down there and they've got like bacon and eggs,
Right.
and like toilet paper and
Sure.
like instant soup and all that, the usual stuff, and beer and wine. And it's like you get one thing, you get to the register, and then the register says more. I'm like, but what? But oh yeah.
Yeah. And
And at least we're lucky here. We have, what is it, 7% sales tax?
Sure.
But we don't have state tax, state income tax in Florida.
Yeah, California. Well, now I'm thinking way back when was like 8.5. Now I don't know what is nowadays, but
Man, that's not bad. I mean, it's better than 25%.
you got to remember I'm talking like 17 years ago, so I can't remember, but I do know that it still gets me off guard when I go shopping back home, and I found that I'm not buying as much stuff when I'm over there. And I come back. I'm just, for one, Costco opened up. So
I was going to ask you about that.
yes,
Rodney sent me a picture, or it was on Instagram. I think you sent it to me too, of like Sweden's entire supply of Spam. And I'm like, they're going to need to order more right away now because you're taking all of it.
Yeah. As I'm fighting people back, I'm like, just keep on walking. Just keep on walking, buddy.
Well, you use both hands, a can in each hand, because then you can bash people in the head with one of them.
Hey, almost.
Get back.
I saw that pallet. I saw the pallet o Spam at Costco. And the Love Boat theme is going off in my head, and I'm like, everything is going in slow motion. I'm getting like Valentine's Day tingles, and no, it was. The funny part of it is of course now when we know where it is and we can go get it whenever. Adrian went for his first visit, so of course he bought like a 6-pack of Spam. I had bought a 6-pack of Spam. So now instead of me giving him Spam, like when he comes down to visit, he like gave me 2 cans when I was up there.
Perfect.
It's like, here, take these. I'm like, okay. So
now wash my clothes for me.
Right. Yeah. So we got Costco up there, and it's a.
What do the Swedes think of Costco? Because it's very much a not Swedish culture business model.
What's kind of funny is that we've been there twice. And I know the first time, but even the second time, it's like you hear Americans all over the place. Like you're passing people, and you hear them just talking to me like, oh, those batteries, back in the States, this and that. And we're like, oh, look at these steaks. Yeah, but they're not as big as back in the States. It's kind of hard to tell because I've talked to a couple of Swedes that heard about Costco, and they're like, I'm never going to pay a membership. Why would I pay 400 crowns or 500 crowns? For a membership to some place that's probably
walk in there and see how cheap the TVs are.
Hey, from my perspective, I'm like, hey, you know what? You're absolutely right. Don't do it. Don't get your membership.
Keep away from the spam.
Keep away from my Spam aisle. It's not worth it.
I mean, the membership is worth, like, you go there and you have lunch with all the free samples.
Absolutely.
That's what the membership is for.
Yeah,
Hello.
Yeah. A little Tupperware inside the backpack. Here, I'll take an extra sample of that.
Yeah, and where else are you going to get a 30-gallon jug of mayonnaise?
That's what I'm talking about. I should have done the syrup. There's like there's a maple syrup outage or shortage over here.
What?
Yeah, so they haven't restocked. The only one they have is like the original Canadian. The Canadian one that they have like in a little glass. They have a little glass bottle that's twice as much as the. And I think it's probably the genuine original maple syrup.
Basically it's real maple syrup when it's like 3 times the price of all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's the real one. Everything else is just loaded up with sugar water.
And it's Canadian. And I'm thinking, well, I mean, so
it has that red maple leaf. It's got to be real,
right? But the thing about it is, the flavor was really, because I had to do it. I had promised everybody pancakes. I went to 3 stores, no of the regular, American pancake syrup. So I ended up having to buy a little Canadian bottle. Took it home, and yes, it was almost twice as much as the larger one. So I go into the kitchen with this Canadian bottle of maple syrup, and it's all of a sudden it becomes like my precious. And I'm like,
Here, you only get 1 drop. We have to make this last.
Right, dry pancakes. Here, you can have as much milk as you want.
Well, that's what the butter's for, right?
Right, you make it slip down. So that's a little bit of a drag right now. I haven't had pancakes in a couple of weeks, and I'm afraid to use the last tablespoon of the Canadian stuff. Unless I have to take out a Klarna loan.
Oh, God, Klarna. Yeah. I'm still getting correspondence and stuff like that, or like I'm still on a couple junk email lists that haven't gotten the message that like I'm marking you as spam every time, and it's like something with a whole load of Swedish comes into my inbox. I'm like,
Yeah. I finally turned on. I think I told you about that. The contest that I had I thought that I had backed out of entering, but hadn't. My stuff, I guess my information got submitted for this contest, and I started I got more spam mail. I mean,
not the good spam.
Not the good spam, the bad spam. and telephone calls. I get like 4 telephone calls a day.
Jesus.
So there's like telesales. So I put on the
so much for GDPR over there.
on my iPhone. I just put that filter on. So I get a message afterwards that says that, okay, this person tried to call you again. So I've been thinking I'm prepared because I'm actually going to accept one of those calls shortly. And I have 3 pages worth of stuff that I'm going to figure out what I'm going to what I'm going to put that poor salesperson
Sorry for the
through.
poor soul on the other end of that phone.
I guarantee you it's going to be entertaining for us.
Hey, you know how we always get over there like the calls from Tunisia or like random African nations,
Yes.
but they don't ring long enough for you to pick up the phone, but they'll always call you twice and leave
Right.
2 missed calls, so
Yeah.
that you call them back and somehow they make money on it.
Yeah.
So here, the scam is every single day I get a text message, and it's always a different number, about like, oh, due to suspicious activity, your insert random account has been deactivated.
Oh.
Please log in to blah, blah, blah. It's like the most blatant phishing attempt ever. But it's like they want your Apple ID or your Amazon or your PayPal.
Right.
And it's like, oh my God, people. And you delete it and you mark as junk.
Yeah.
So that you would think it starts sending stuff back to the carriers, but it's a different number every time.
Yeah.
And on top of that, who's ever used to own this phone number must have been a big political donor, because I get politicians contacting me all the time. I'm like, this is not the person you think it is. Go away. Thank you.
Can't you?
I'm not giving you money.
Can't you use that to your advantage and be like, okay, well, you remember how much I gave you last time? What are you guys going to do for me this year?
Yeah, exactly.
I need a bigger parking space. Well.
Yeah. Well, how about that get out of jail free card? How about that?
Right. Yeah, my mom has been getting a ton of, she sends them to me so that I can tell her whether or not they're legitimate emails. Mm-hmm. And I've tried to show her how to see, like how to spot the email address. So not the who it's from, but the actual.
Yeah, the URL. That's always the giveaway.
Yeah. And she,
unless they're really good and then they've hacked the company and they're using fake email that they used.
Right.
That
Well,
they
she
made up
had
from that
gotten
actual
an
URL.
email the other day that said that they needed her to double check a safety thing, of course, and needed her to confirm. And she sent it to me, and she said, "Is this a legitimate email?" And as I look at, I'm sitting there going, "Okay, Frank 153 at zumba.com." I'm like, "Mom, nah, you can skip this one."
Or how about the emails? Like, I don't know how women use the internet or email, but like every other guy that I know, the second you're on Facebook, you always get the random requests, or you like open up your junk email folder every once in a while, and it's like, "Hello, my name Yvonne, very lonely girl looking for companionship. If you would like to chat, we'll be here in special chat room waiting for you with very unique surprise." God.
Yeah. And there's never a surprise in those rooms when you at least I've heard.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, how is Dylan doing? I was going to ask you about little D.
He's doing great.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sitting in his room right now to record this, which is also where the dining room table used to be before we moved out of here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've got like a day bed and we pull it out, and that's what he sleeps on at night. And then we've got some curtains back here.
I see him.
We pull close.
Nice.
So not as good as a proper wall and door.
Right.
But it's working out for now. But otherwise, he loves school. He's learning Spanish. Like, he went to Renata the other day. He's like, "Mamai, listo, mamai, listo," which is "I'm ready."
Oh, okay.
Like, he's ready to go down to the pool. He's like,
Okay.
"Listo, listo."
Ah.
All right. Picking it up.
All right.
And he's still watching. I can tell he's losing a little bit of his Swedish.
Yeah.
But he still understands. Like, he was watching Bolibompa this morning. And
Okay.
Doctor Renata. So he can now, because his own English language skills are pretty good, he can tell me what's going on in the Swedish show.
Ah. Okay.
in English. So I'm like, okay. And he'll be like, Dad, that's the character with the super strong. And I'm like, okay.
Right. Okay. How's it going with? Because is he like in a daycare now or a
Yeah, he's in a preschool.
Okay.
So we had to find here. There's like daycare where they just like it's a jungle gym inside, and the adults just make sure they don't kill themselves, basically.
Right.
But then we wanted something that was a bit more like Swedish style, so like a Montessori kind of thing.
Okay.
So he's in. We thought it was going to be really advanced for him, but he's picking up everything right like super fast. They teach like this month they were learning about all the different professions, so like what a policeman does or police person, who delivers the mail, and singers and doctors and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and then they have him drawing letters already.
Yeah.
So he's moving real quick.
Okay.
Real quick.
I remember when
He can count to 20 now.
Oof. Yeah. But I remember because Adrian had started kindergarten before we moved from the States back here, and I remember that there was a lot of counting, a lot of letters, and a lot of stuff like that. And then when we got over here, it was all about the social skills. So it was like, well, how high can he count, or how much can he? They're like, no, we're just going to play a little bit, and we're going to learn how to interact with each other. And
yes.
So,
but it's like that's what we were worried about, because here it's like you feel like the competition to make your kid as smart as possible.
Right. Yeah.
So they do a lot of stuff that I didn't even do till I was in first grade, and he's 3 years old in kindergarten, cracking away on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so we were a bit worried about like the very Swedish, like, oh, they'll just do what they do and they'll figure out how they want to do school.
Right.
And I'm like, But yeah, he's picking everything up right away.
Yeah.
So
Okay. You got some little friends he hangs out with?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. There's even a Frida.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Spanish Frida. But Frida.
Nice. Play dates and stuff, and because you were doing
Yeah, couple.
You were Mr. Momming a while there.
Yes. So now I'm still working with my Swedish team.
Right.
But I'm working on American hours. Hinata's still working with her Swedish team, but working on almost Swedish hours. So she starts working about like 6 o'clock, sometimes a little earlier. But then she's done earlier, so I typically have to do all the morning stuff with him, drop him at the school, and then she picks him up and all that kind of thing.
Okay.
But he brought home, I think you guys have been getting it a little bit too. There's a nasty flu going around the world right now. It's brutal.
Okay.
And Dylan brought it home from school the other week.
Oh, nice.
So last month, Hinata, because she had like some conferences and like a work trip, she was basically gone the whole month almost. So I was single dad extraordinaire.
Right.
So 1 week we flew my mom down so she could help me out and like cook some stuff and make sure he's like kind of occupied and entertained between when he gets home from school and when I can stop working and all that stuff. But then the day that she was leaving, so she was gonna fly out in the morning, Dylan had to come home from school sick. And then I was checking him at night, and he's got a fever, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like the worst thing ever.
Right.
Now he's going to have to stay home from school, and I'm by myself.
Yes.
And then what happened? Within, I would say 18 hours, I had the flu.
Ooh.
So I'm home by myself with my kid home sick, and now I have a fever.
Okay.
Of like 40 something,
Right.
41, almost 42, I think it was.
Yeah.
Just, I couldn't move.
Yeah.
And so we were both like on the couch, just like passed out with cartoons on. Like I could not move. It was so bad.
Yeah. Here, take the remote. Dad, give me the remote. No, here, take it. You can have the remote. I don't want the remote.
But now he knows how to use the remote now. He doesn't know how to switch between all the devices that are hooked up to it. Thank God.
Right.
But he knows how to turn stuff on, pause it. He knows which remote goes to what machine.
Okay. How long?
So you could probably help your mom out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hey, how long were you guys sick for? Was it like a 48 hour or 72?
Mine was like 48 hours.
Okay.
It was at least 24 hours with the fever. It was brutal.
Okay.
And then like stuff lingers after. But yeah, it's so my mom got it after right after she got home, she started feeling all the symptoms. So I was like half a day to a day ahead of her. So she was like, oh my God, I got the cough. What's happening next? I'm like, you're going to feel like crap for the next 10 hours. Here we go.
Have your ears started bleeding
and then
yet?
she gave it to her boyfriend too. So then he had the whole cycle, and then it's just going everywhere. It's crazy.
Okay. Well, hey, I look forward to it over here. And we'll call to get like, Sean, what happens now?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Brutal.
So is there anything at all other than the weather and Gullmarsplan and semlor, anything that you...
Gullmarsplan, oh my God. Yeah. That's a name I haven't heard in many years.
Yeah. Is there anything that you think back and you're like, wow, that sure would be nice to be there for an hour?
Yeah, the healthcare.
Okay. Ooh. Ouch. Yeah.
I mean, I've got it through my company, so we put everybody on my healthcare coverage right now. But it's like we got recommended to a pediatrician because a friend of ours takes their kid there. But it's like when he gets sent home from school, that normally happens at about 2:00, 1:00 when he gets sick.
Yeah.
And then to drive up there, you have to get an appointment same day, which is always like the last appointment of the day, like 6:30.
Yeah.
And you have to drive 40 minutes away, but then it's in rush hour traffic, so it takes more like an hour. And it's like, why did we select this pediatrician?
Yeah.
But then you have to find someone. There's like network and out of network, and there's like, I gotta relearn all the terms that the insurance world uses. I'm like, oh my God, can't I just? And then you have to go to the specific pharmacy to get your prescriptions.
Right.
Like you pick one pharmacy.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? There's a better way, right?
you know that I could.
So you're telling me Walgreens, which uses the same technology for every other Walgreens, but only this one can see my information.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That definitely makes sense somehow.
Makes perfect sense for like 80 years ago.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess. But like I have to find my own general practitioner. I have to get my teeth cleaned, all that stuff. But it's like, yeah. How does this work? How do I even find a doctor? I have to do like Google research to just figure out how to make an appointment for myself.
Maybe they have like SFE for like returning American expats. They should have like a crash course.
Yeah, but here it can't be the American version. It has to be the sort of American version.
Right. Yeah.
I tell people all the time, I am so close to the U.S. here.
Right.
But it's Miami.
What about fika?
Fika, I mean, to be honest, there is kind of I wouldn't say the morning fika, but the afternoon one, there's kind of a similar thing in the offices here. Like, I don't really experience it because I'm working from home. We're both working from home, so that's been kind of a weird thing, too, that we haven't been smacked in the face with American culture because we're just kind of in our own bubble right now.
Okay.
But like in Miami, it's a very Cuban thing. Like after lunch, you have like the little cafecito, the little mini coffee.
Okay.
But it's like more like Turkish coffee. So it's like brewed as espresso with a load of sugar in it. So like you then, like a normal coffee cup, you pour it out into these tiny little thimble-sized plastic shot glasses. Okay. And you drink that.
Okay.
And it's like rocket fuel, like that little tiny micro shot. You're just like, okay. But there's a thing about, the cafecito's here. Everyone gathers around and gets their little shot glass. And it's like a communal thing like fika. So there is something sort of like that.
Okay. So that's replaced like the water, the water cooler.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there's no dammsugar or anything like that. But
the little treats there.
You might get a little pastel or something.
Okay.
You could have like a little pastry.
What about kanelbullar? You miss your cinnamon rolls?
Well, here we have. I'm not a cinnamon person.
No.
I'm not like allergic to it or anything, but I ate too many Apple Jacks as a kid.
Okay.
The cereal, and then I swore off apple cinnamon flavor by the time I was 7. I think.
Yeah.
So, never been a big cinnamon bun person, but here we have this thing called Cinnabun.
Right. Which is like the huge...
Yes, it's this cinnamon bun, which is about... Well, first it's more like a square to roundish shape.
Oh, yeah.
And it's more like the size of your face.
Okay.
And about, what is that? What is that in centimeters? 6 centimeters?
Yeah.
Thick. And then it's just covered in
frosting.
Icing glaze.
Frosting glaze. Yeah.
Yeah. Very American.
Very, very, very.
Just load it up with butter and sugar. That's all you need. And then throw some extra salt on just in case.
Yeah. A quick thing before we get too far from your sickness time. Was it nice to be able to get all your medications and your NyQuil and your daytime, nighttime?
Oh, I couldn't use NyQuil.
What?
Because, like, I had this vision in my head of, like, because when you use NyQuil, at least for me, I am out until 3 o'clock in the morning, and then ding, I wake up. The NyQuil's worn off. I'm awake now.
Yeah.
But, like, what happens, because I was alone with Dylan, who was also kind of, like, iffy, sick.
Yeah.
And then if I take NyQuil and something happens,
right,
I'm not going to wake up, and there's no one else here to kind of... So, yeah, I was, like, just staring at the NyQuil in the medicine cabinet, like, hello, darkness, my old friend.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Trying to.
But, yeah, I mean, it is nice to have being able to read the directions and the warning labels. It's very nice.
Instructions on stuff. And
yes, that's very nice. Don't have to worry about decaliters anymore. But, yeah, I mean, still is... inventory is still very weird here. Like, there was an issue with the children's Motrin or children's Tylenol.
Right.
Like, right at the start of flu season. Oh. And I guess there was a shortage, and then no store had it anymore.
Right.
Because then once word gets out, it's hard to find children's Motrin, then every parent is like, screw it. I'm going to buy a pallet at Costco.
Yeah.
I can't run the risk without it, because otherwise there's no real way to treat a toddler with a fever.
Yeah.
You know,
I noticed that when I was back visiting my mom's, actually, because I went down to one of the local drugstore things, and the shelves were empty of all the cold and flu. Even at the Safeway, the grocery store, all the cold and flu stuff was just empty.
Yeah. But it's like the most random things too. Like, I went to the normal grocery store here, the Publix, the other day.
Yeah.
And there were only AA batteries. And now everything uses AAA. Everything.
Yeah.
Except for like random watch batteries.
Right.
But of course, they had a couple, but not the size that I needed. And no AAA, no D batteries or C. And the big chunky ones?
Yeah.
The giant ones where basically you just open it up and it's a bunch of batteries inside.
Right.
But it was like only the ones that would have the AA's in them. I'm just like, God, man, what is going on with the inventory here? I just need one weird watch battery and AA's. Come on, man.
Can I tape these together? Can I tape these AA's?
There was probably some story on Facebook about a battery shortage, and then everyone went out to buy them. I'm like, God.
That's probably what happened.
Woo! What an unexpectedly brilliant surprise that was. Thank you, everyone out there in podcast land, for tuning in once again. It was great to be back. And who knows when we'll pop up again. Until next time, this has been 2 Guys, 3 Crowns.